who is this woman? Like, crazy. And I finally found out her name, and her name is Anneken Hendriks. She was a 53-year-old woman whose mouth was stuffed with gunpowder so much that she couldn't speak. They rubbed it into her gums and under her tongue and just everywhere. She probably couldn't even breathe or like even open her mouth. They tied her up and they eventually threw her into the fire. And I couldn't believe it. So I wanted to know, what exactly did this woman do? What did she do? What could have been, yeah. So anyway, what I researched, and I came across a very interesting story. And apparently, Anneken Hendriks, she was a Anabaptist. And I guess they call it a Mennonite, and that was her crime. So, let's talk about Anneken Hendriks today. Also, like, this is not a lesson in theology, or it's not some political statement. It is, however, a reminder of what can happen when someone refuses to speak the words you gave them and chooses their own instead. So if that still feels kind of relevant to you, then maybe it's because it is. This story isn't about some religion or whatever. It's just really about power and how silence is enforced and how some just refuse it. Anneken, she was born in Friesland around 1522, daughter of a humble linen workers, and by the time she was 53, she would leave home and she finally settled in Amsterdam. So back then, life was just a bit different from today if you weren't aware yet. She could neither read or write. But she was certain about her passion and felt drawn to the movement of the Anabaptists. To be honest, like during my research, like the little information I could actually find about her, I came across plenty of words that I was personally unfamiliar with. So religion has never played a big part of my life. So I took some time and figured, just in case you don't know what this means, I did the work for you. So the Anabaptist wasn't just any reform movement. These people believed faith was a choice, not a birthright. They refused infant baptism, refusing to let a baby make promises it just couldn't understand yet. They pledged nonviolence, even in Europe-fueled wars in God's name. And one, on the side note, obviously this sounds very, very familiar to today's movements. This is not a political channel, so I'm not going to interpret this one for you. I'm just here to tell the story and do the research. I just honestly think that these were different times with different problems, probably even less entitled than today's society. Therefore, I will not compare their movement to any movements going on in this society today, because it just wouldn't be fair. Honestly, I just want us all to just live together in peace. So is this just too much to ask? Like, without forcing any beliefs on anyone, as long as everything is rational and you own up to your own opinion, I don't see anything wrong with any movement. Just move in peace, okay? So would you compare religion movements from the 1600s to today's political movements? What is your take on this? I'm just a bit curious now. Should religion and science be thrown under the same umbrella? Where does it cross the line, really? Well, anyway, Anabaptists dreamed of a church unchained from kings and emperors. And Anneken, she believed every word. She married in secret in a candlelit cottage outside the city. 2 souls joined without bells, robes, or public blessing. Let me just go ahead and call my husband to renew our vows real quick. That act alone marked her as dangerous in the eyes of Amsterdam's witch hunters, because church that baptized adults threatened the very idea of state-controlled religion. One evening, Anneken returned from a gathering, possibly just daydreaming, maybe making just some fun plans for dinner, when a neighbor that she trusted slammed the door behind her. Fear or greed, we'll never know which, Within hours, she was dragged before the city halls. Her crime, believing and following anything that was not following the rules of the church.
Seems like you were the first person to report Anneken Hendriks. Can you tell us why?
I feared for her soul.
So are you saying you were afraid of her or you were afraid for her?
She carried pages copied by hands, not from scripture, but from Anabaptist teachings.
Now, tell us one more thing. Do you regret this?
Told my wife it was mercy. But the day after she was taken, I refused to eat. For 3 days, I still heard her scream in my dreams until today. So, I'd say yes.
So they hauled her into the cold cell beneath City Hall. Chains around her wrist, rats just scuttling dark. Can you imagine being in that place with all the rats? October 27th, 1571, they thrust her into a wooden rack. Each twist of her gears stretched her limbs until her joints screamed. They demanded names of fellow Mennonites. They wanted to unravel the entire movement through her. They threw her into the cold cell beneath the hall. Her hands tied up with chains. Her thoughts probably freaking racing 200 miles per hour, and her chest nearly exploding of some sort of anxiety shock, because I can't even imagine. So we were talking about Amsterdam, okay, in October in a cold cell. From what I have found, that would be around daytime highs around 14 to 16 Celsius and lows dipping to about 10 to 12 Celsius with just like a frequent drizzle of rain, in case you were wondering. I had to get you into the scene, okay? The bathroom situation, yes, this is what I could find. Here's what it looked like using the toilet, okay? In Anneken's cell, there would have been just a bare plank floor, and whatever functions happened over that pail. Guard-controlled relief. Prisoners, they didn't just go on their own schedule. If you needed to relieve yourself, my man, you had to call through the hatch or bang on the door. And the guard would maybe slide open the tiny hatch, peer in, and then thrust the bucket out for emptying, often into the canal. If they were busy, however, or spiteful, they just simply waited. That was just part of the psychological torture. Stripping Anneken out of privacy and bodily autonomy was an additional layer of humiliation. Every human need became a reminder of her captivity and for how completely the city's authorities controlled even her most basic dignity. This is a very, very gruesome narrative she lived through. It really makes me question what their thought pattern was during those times. I mean, was empathy even existent? I mean, if not, is empathy something that we learned over time? Or do we tailor our empathy according to what's acceptable to society at that given time? Maybe worth a thought. Listen, you thought this was already enough? Just wait until I tell you about this next part.
Anneken, they're saying they have given you a chance to recant. Now, why wouldn't you take it?
Because silence in the face of truth is a second death, and I will not die twice.
Anneken, do you fear of what comes next?
I fear only that they will forget, that my ashes will scatter before my words take root.
Is there anything you would like to say to those who remain?
They think the fire will end me, but fire spreads.
Thank you.
2 weeks later, on a bitter November morning, they led her to the dam square. A crowd pressed in, some curious, some hungry for spectacle, some moved by pity. Anneken's hair was matted, her dress singed from the torches they carried, and probably of other stuff too. They tied her to a ladder, positioned it like a grotesque throne. Then they did the unthinkable. They stuffed her mouth with gunpowder, packing it just tight between her teeth and guns so she couldn't scream her final prayers. And also, by the way, warning. Consuming gunpowder is highly dangerous. Its explosive ingredients can react with the stomach acid, causing painful gas buildup and internal damage. The sulfur content also risks poisoning, leading to symptoms like nausea, dizziness, and diarrhea. So it should never be ingested. But with deliberate calm, the executioner forces a handful of gritty powder between her teeth and gums. You see the way her lips stretch around the lump. She doesn't flinch. Instead, she closes her eyes as if offering a silent prayer. The ladder tilts. Anneken is drawn toward the fire, her body horizontal, face aimed at the hungry coals. You can hear her wood snap and flames leap upward. She enters the fire face first. For a heartbeat, all you see is glow, firestorm dancing across the dress, sparks erupting like angry stars. Your lungs seize as the smoke coils around you, and somewhere behind you, a child, no older than 10, starts to cry. But still, you cannot look away. It sounds like something out of a nightmare, doesn't it? But it's real. It really happened. And when the fire was lit, she went in face first. They say her last expression was calm, kind of like she was stepping through a doorway. After the embers cooled and the crowd disappeared, the Anabaptist movement didn't vanish. So when I think of Anneken Hendriks, I don't just see a murderer. I see a sister who woke up in the morning with nothing but faith to shield her, and faith was enough. I see a woman who held her breath so her voice could actually live on. And I ask myself, what am I willing to burn for? Do you and me have anything in common that is worth burning for? Now that's Anneken's gift to us. Her story doesn't end in the flames. It stokes a fire of our own hearts, and maybe, just maybe, the legacy she meant to leave. She was married in secret, which already kind of made her suspicious. And when her neighbor turned her in, probably out of fear or desperation, the authorities took her, tortured her. They wanted names. She didn't give them a single one. And here's the part that kind of hits you in the gut, right? On the day they burned her, they filled her mouth with gunpowder, and I say it again, just to make sure that she didn't speak as she died. Threw her into the fire, face first, because even her silence was too loud for them. So when I read about this religious movement, I was just thinking, I was asking like myself, did this end there? Europe holds only about 3% of the global Mennonite population, a lingering effect of the intense persecution Anabaptists faced during the 16th century Reformation era, which we just now talked about. Anneken's voice was taken, so I'm lending her mine. And let me ask you, what would you do with yours? Thanks for listening, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was very informative. And yeah, if you have any thoughts, please drop them in the comments below. I would be so happy to see. I don't know if you've seen this one yet. Yeah, I'm committed. I love this. It's so pretty, isn't it? So I really, really, really hope our girl Anneken Hendriks knows that her story will never be forgotten, okay? This may not be a viral video or anything like that, but at least I can say I made sure that her story was told. I hope in a way that people will understand and that people can maybe even think about their own lives a little bit. I hope that she had an effect on how people view even their own lives. It doesn't matter if this is about crazy big ass movements like religion or, protests or all the war going on right now. It's not really actually about this. I think that a lot of stuff that we can learn from her specifically is really, where's your voice, right? Do you have a lot of stuff to say and you never say it? because you're afraid that people will not understand you, or because you're afraid that you're not heard? Or is it because you are just not ready yet to give these people up that would not agree with your opinion, and therefore maybe you're afraid that they will just leave you? But if you have this drive and you have something in your heart is telling you you have to go ahead and you want to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. May it be about witch hunts, may it be about other things that have been on your mind. Maybe relationships, maybe you have something to say about relationships. Go ahead and do it. Do it. It doesn't matter. Can I tell you something? Really, people don't give a people don't give a fuck opinion. Maybe they just want to watch you because they feel connected to you in a way. And just like this channel, I'm just kind of sitting here telling you about these things because I felt like something was telling, I don't know what it was, but something was just kind of letting me know, like I couldn't sleep right anymore. I had to do this. I don't know why. I have a plenty of other witch trials on one of my playlists on this channel. I just wondered, how much power are you willing to let other people have over you until you say something? Or I'm not sure, you guys. I don't even know what we can learn from her. I think everybody has their own thing they can learn from these stories. That's what I learned about, just sometimes some things are worth burning for, even if it's not in a literal sense. But they tried everything to silence her. They even put gunpowder in her mouth, and I wonder why. They weren't ready for the truth, and she wasn't ready for the time. She wasn't. I think some people are just not made to be in the same era as they were born in. So it's okay. Even if you're different, it doesn't matter. Because who's going to leave you? Who's going to leave you? The people who leave you because of your opinion, they don't belong in your life in the first place. So what are you doing? Just for the sake of being polite? You want to be polite by not talking about certain things? You want to be polite by not looking deeper into issues that are going on right now in your life? Why are you so afraid? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid to face them? Are you afraid of yourself? What exactly are you scared of seeing down there? I always like to scratch just on the surface, just to see what's there, because you may be able to swim on the surface of an ocean, but have you ever been underneath the ocean? Did you ever go scuba diving? There's so much more. There's a whole entire world beneath. And no one will ever see it unless they actually go and dive deeper into it. And this is what I hope these stories are going to do to these people that are watching these videos. These little amount of people, I really hope it reaches someone that just makes them think a little bit about their own lives. Now, this is not just about some true crime in a way, I guess. It's really about looking into yourself. How do you see yourself in these people in any way? I mean, you could just listen to these stories because you find it fascinating the way they were executed. I mean, I feel that's very fascinating because they would never dare to do that these days, especially not, in this country or in Europe. They probably wouldn't dare that anymore there. But how much control do you let, just have others have over you? Even the churches these days, they may not be the same as they used to be. Again, I wouldn't say I'm an atheist either. I'm just kind of existing in my own sense of peace. If there's something out there, that's fine, but I do think that everybody should have the right to choose. And I also feel like, just like her, like Anneken Hendriks, I also feel like that a lot of times people make decisions for you because of their own benefit. It would benefit them, but what about you? And how much are you willing to give to stand up for that? If you were born a certain religion, no one asked you if you wanted to tailor your entire life according to this. How do you know you want to be living by a scripture? Your parents told you to do it. I don't know. It's just all, I feel like, yeah. Anyway, so we want to thank people like her that have been through hell, literal hell, just because they had their own opinion and they were too far in their head, like too far, like too grown up in their, like too mature in their head for that time while they were alive. Maybe that was their only sin, you know, being born in a time it wasn't ready for them. I'm not sure. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, see you till next week. Bye-bye.